Turning to business news now with Nona Peltier. Good afternoon, Nona. Sky City Entertainment had its annual meeting today. Big shareholder turnout, I understand.
The usual. It's always good because they give off nice vouchers for meals, parking vouchers, bonus cards. It's all very, very nice, civilized. Huge group of people in the theatre today with their new chief executive, Graham Stevens, who actually did a really great job of talking up the company's fortunes and sort of setting a new course, really talking about the need for more partners, looking at non-core assets and thinking about, what did he call it, asset light. So
what does that mean?
I think he means he'll get rid of things that aren't exactly right to necessary, like the casino, for example. So
okay.
Maybe something else. He recently the company bought the AA Centre at the corner of Victoria and Albert Street in downtown Auckland, and it backs into Federal Street, which is one of their main plazas. So talked a little bit about how he wants to see the City Link come in through there. He's pretty good ideas, and talked about redeveloping Darwin or selling it perhaps over the next year. He's going to come up with a plan before the next annual meeting to present to shareholders. So yeah, seemed like a bit of an action man.
Oh, so big plans there. Now, what has the formation of the new government, what sort of impact has it had on the market?
Actually quite a lot. Not as volatile as you might think. I guess it's because it's not a snap thing. People were kind of anticipating a change, and so the market priced in a lot of what we saw. So, for example, our Kiwi dollar, it had actually quite a large movement through the day. It started out around 70.36 US cents, moved to as low as 69.73. So, we're talking a reasonable drop, and that's below a level of 70 US cents, which is kind of it's an important measure. Once things drop below 70 cents, they kind of tend to stay there, and that's what we've seen through most of the day. Last time I looked, it was 69.9, and it had been moving around quite a lot. The Australian dollar, it's at 18-month lows against the Australian. It dropped to 89.08, so we haven't seen that for a really long time.
And exporters would be delighted with that, wouldn't they?
Absolutely delighted, yes. Of course, because the currency has fallen. Now, when we looked at the markets, the exporters were doing really well. This is when we're talking about the NZX Top 50 Index. Not so much for retirement village operators, though. Their prices fell, and that was partly because there's a view that the housing market will see prices fall and sales slow as the government reshapes policy there to make housing more affordable, at least in the Auckland market. And that may slow down the sales of retirement villages because older folks selling their properties and then moving into retirement villages, it might take a little longer. But inevitably it will happen, so it just may take a little longer. So the share prices reflected that, but nevertheless, we've been seeing a kind of an interesting trend. So in the morning, the market's quite low, and we saw that. At one stage, the top 50 index was down nearly 100 points, which is quite a lot in a day. But it finished up at another record close, now just barely 5 points up to 8,130. That's its 13th consecutive record close, and we've seen that in Asia as well. And with the Asian markets booming, we're seeing that flowing through into the New Zealand market. We're seeing that in Wall Street as well. And it's really interesting that today is the 30th anniversary of the 1987 share market crash.
So how did it end up?
We ended up at 8,130 points, another record close for us.
Wow. Thank you very much, Nona Peltier.